Hello, I'm Lisa Ann from Lisa Ann Tarot, and I am here to give you an energy report for the week of January 28th. I'm going to try to recreate the energy report that I give on my live on Facebook on the weekends. If you're not following me on Facebook, I am going to put a copy of my link tree in the description below so that you can find my Facebook page and follow me there. I do channel live for the energy report for the week, and today's live was actually very powerful. And if there was a way for me to get it up here on YouTube for you, I would. But if you get a chance to go watch the replay on that, you'll get more of the raw, vulnerable energy. I'm not sure what'll come out with me trying to recreate it here, but I'm going to try because I do feel that the channeled messages that I had for this week are very important and very powerful, especially if you're following me and you're on the twin flame journey and you know anything about twin flame separation. This information is very important, whether you're divine masculine, divine feminine, it doesn't matter. So how I channel my energy reports is that I watch a couple of different astrologers. I get their feel for the energy of the week, and while I'm listening to the detail of their report, I channel what my guides want me to talk about for the week. So through this channeling, I have the message to give you. I also have some songs that were also channeled while I was downloading this, and I'll put the names of those songs also in the comments below for you to look up and listen to. All right, so the energy of this week. Actually, the energy that we started off the year with started off really intense. And so far, my hopes for 2024 were that it was going to be light and magical and that the hard stuff was in the past, and I was totally wrong. We started off the year deep diving into shadow work, right? Into the darkness, into some really tough energies. And since the full moon, this past full moon, it's just been increasingly throwing stuff at us in leaps and bounds. So some of the messages that are coming out are in regards with the shadow work surrounding our self-worth and how we view ourselves and what our internal belief systems are. And then looking at how that affects the people that surround us and the people that we align ourselves with. The tendencies to self-sabotage, the tendencies to run. And how spirit is doing certain things and making certain things happen in your life to make you fight for your reality, to make you dig your way out of the trenches. Now you have a choice. You can still stay in the mud and muck and roll around and stay there, or you can fight to drag yourself out. Okay. So first we want to look at the people you align yourself with are a reflection of your own self-image. When you come in contact with someone who sees you for who you authentically are, and that would be your twin, that would be your counterpart. They see through you and see your authentic self. They see your potential. And your 3D self might not be ready to see that or might not be ready to accept it. And that's what prompts the running. That's what prompts the separation, if you will. But the thing that you have to realize is that if you align yourself with negativity and negative belief systems, and you don't know your worth and you don't believe your worth, you're going to attract people in the same energy. right? Law of attraction says that we get what we give. What we put out into the universe is what we attract. So if you want to improve your life, look at the people that you have around you and see how that's affecting your total reality. When it comes to looking for advice, right? We always say that you go to people that are living the life that you want for the advice on how to get there. So if you're looking for success, you're going to go ask a successful person how they got there. What is your advice? What do I need to change? What do I need to do? What do I need to focus on? That's the person you want to go to. You're not going to go and look at the person who's struggling, or look at the person who, is living in a bad situation, probably based on their own choices on how to dig themselves out of a hole. They don't know, otherwise they wouldn't be in the hole. When it comes to love, you're not going to ask the person that's been divorced 40 times, that has 50 mistresses and sleeps around and has no real connection or relationship, on what to do to build a relationship. You're going to go look to the couple that's been married successfully for 50, 60 years and ask them what their secret to happiness is. So you want to always elevate yourself towards your goal, like towards, look where you're going. And like an example of this is, my ex that I was married to used to surround himself with people who fell out of life, people that had struggles. They had no money. They had they had addiction issues. They had no family. They were alone. And he made himself king among peasants. The lowlifes that he surrounded himself made him feel so much more superior, and it fed his narcissism. It fed narcissism. It fed his ego. If you have someone who's emotionally unavailable and they don't want to create meaningful connections, they're going to look to people that they know are below them, or they feel are not significant, and, play this dancing game with them, because it strokes their ego. All they're looking for is the attention. They're looking for the next fix, the next person to sext with, the next person to give them a compliment, but they're not creating anything meaningful. The energy of this week is about empowering ourselves, right? Looking at our relationships and reviewing the power that we feed them to control us. What power are we giving away to our relationships where they can affect how we live and how we move forward? How much energy are you placing in other people's opinion of you? How much energy are you putting in external validation and needing to be validated? Are you self-sabotaging? Are you self-sacrificing for family? Are you doing things against the grain and against what you truly feel in your heart just because you feel that's the right thing to do? So, we have to watch our internal belief systems and how we view ourselves. If we don't like the life that we're living, if we're constantly in misery, if we're constantly in a negative spiral, are we going to attract people and align ourselves with people in that same mindset because we're comfortable there in the mud, because we're comfortable in that low vibration? Or are we going to try to dig ourselves out and raise our vibration? Know that we're worth more. Know that we're capable of more, and really strive and fight to get there. We have to watch our negative thought paradigms, that gloom and doom. What are we emotionally investing ourselves in? at this time? How are our connections and emotional negativity affecting our outlook? And how that relates to our life and how we're living, right? If we're in this Eeyore factor, that gloom and doom, that, oh boy, things are bad. My life sucks. Things don't work out for me. That is going to draw people that have that same mindset. Then you can all sit and commiserate together, because birds of a feather flock together. And that's going to get you nowhere, because all that's going to do is to leave you in this puddle of mud that's not serving you. Okay? When we're looking for a validation outside of ourselves, when we're aligning ourselves with other people, we're just looking for someone to validate our negative feelings. We're aligning ourselves with more negativity. Negativity feeds negativity. So sometimes what happens in the dynamic, the twin flame dynamic, is the divine feminine, because she holds the energy, might approach the divine masculine and see him for who he authentically is. She sees him as the emperor, as all the kings. And the masculine himself, because he struggles with self-worth, because he struggles with his own identity, self-image, confidence, fears. The mirror that she reflects back on him scares the living shit out of him, because he doesn't think that he can live up to that potential. He doesn't believe in himself. Like, that's not me. I can't possibly give you what you want, because I'm not that person. Even though this is who you are in your core, in your authenticity. And if you did the work and you elevated yourself and you healed yourself, you would see just who you authentically are. But they're not ready to see that reflection. So the song Mirrors by Justin Timberlake came through as I channeled this part of it. But the wounded masculine will seek validation from wounded feminines. There are women out there that are thirsty enough that'll agree with everything they say, that will talk the talk to get the attention, give them the attention that they want. But when it comes down to it, for them to walk the walk, they can't do it, because they aren't there. They aren't the feminine, the divine feminine. They are wounded. They are distorted. And that, in essence, is not anything that's going to feed that masculine soul. Can that distorted feminine feed the masculine's ego? Absolutely. And if that's all he's looking for, he needs to heal that. So in life, in healing, we have the 3 R's. We have resistance, we have resentment, and we have revenge. So when we're faced with an issue, when something comes up that causes us a disturbance in our life, we go through these phases. The first phase is resistance. We don't want to believe it. So let's take, for example, separation. Things are going good with your masculine. You do have like this in and out, unstable energy, but you feel like you're making strides. And all of a sudden you wake up one day and you're blocked. They're gone. No contact, nothing. You want to resist the fact that they're not healed enough. They're not ready to come together. They're not there yet. So you create these patterns in your mind and all these excuses for them. And what that's doing is his woundedness that caused him to block you and throw you out of his life, his need to self-sabotage, to stroke his ego, pushes you away. You don't want to call a spade, so you're going to make excuses for him. You're going to be like, oh, or maybe you need to heal something, and it's like, well, maybe I'm not enough. And you start to turn that internally. I did something wrong to make him leave. I didn't give him enough. I didn't, whatever that fear is. So that's resistance. After resistance becomes resentment. So we get, and I saw a TikTok the other day, which perfectly, the guy was dancing to different songs and it was the stages of a breakup. And that's kind of what this is. So the second stage is resentment. So we start to get angry. We start to get mad that they're acting a fool. We start to get mad that they're not seeing their worth and they're diving into these dumpsters to pick up trash. They're attracting toxic and trashy people to stroke their ego, to feed off of, to get that compliment, to get that, little flirty flirt back and forth. And that starts to hurt, and that hurt starts to manifest, and you hold like a resentment towards them. How dare you hurt me? How dare you turn your back on me when all I did was offer you unconditional love? How dare you make me feel this way when I've given so much? So it turns your unconditional love to conditional love. I am not going to give you any more love until you give me something back. And that's just a trigger for you to double down on your unconditional love. That's just a trigger for you to not be pulled into the low vibration where they want to sit. You don't want to fall into that mud puddle with them. You need to elevate yourself and hold yourself sacred. I am not going to be pulled down into a low vibration. You're going to do the work to come up and meet me, if that makes sense. So during this time, during this week, the way the energies play out, it's time to man up. It's time to take responsibility for our actions, take control of our emotions. You can always say, in manifesting, I want $1 million, but your internal belief systems might be in a poverty mindset and be like, but I don't have money to pay my bills. And that creates a boomerang effect of your manifestations. If we apply this to manifesting your twin flame union or manifesting love or a relationship, you can throw that out there and say, I am going to manifest the love of my life. But that internal belief is, I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough in my manifestations to be able to do this. I don't have the emotional fortitude to go through the pain and suffering that I need to go through and transmute that energy. I'm going to end up falling victim to the puddle. So that is something that is going to come up for us to heal and to work on and to keep in our mindset that we have to continue to level up and not allow this to pull us down. Emotions are changeable. Emotions are outside of us. So we can change our emotions on a dime. On my live, I ended up crying. I ended up getting emotional. And I went from crying and trying to remain composed to laughing because my emotions changed like that. Okay? And that's not a sign of being mentally unstable. That's just a sign that emotions are temporary. And when we can remove the emotions from things that were giving us problems, sometimes we can refocus ourselves. And that practice of refocus is something we need to master. If we're on this journey to master ourselves and our own energy, this is part of that mastery, if that makes sense. So really, it's our true inner beliefs that shape our existence. If we're going to sit around and be like, I am poor, I have no money, I'm never going to have money, I'm never going to get myself out of debt, guess what? That's what we're going to manifest. But if I say, yes, I'm struggling now, but you know what? By the end of the year, I'm going to be out of the hole. I'm going to manifest financial abundance. I'm going to talk to people who are successful, find out how they invested their money, find out how they dug themselves out of a hole, and I'm going to make a plan to do that. Taking charge of the problem and becoming a solution, making a solution to it. When we take a hold of a problem and we identify with it and make that problem part of us, That's a problem. So when people sit in the mud so long, they become comfortable. When they sit with pain so long, they identify with that pain. And it's very scary to think of how, like, I don't know who I am without my pain. I don't know who I am without my negativity. What if I don't like that person? What if I can't sustain that? I've been negative for so long. If I try to be positive, how long can I maintain that? These are the fears that come up. And the channeled song that came out for this was Fix You by Coldplay. So our belief systems and what we internally believe, that internal self-talk, is what shapes our existence. It's not the emotion. So when we say that someone is emotionally unavailable, that just means that they've mastered putting their emotions aside. They've learned to live without emotion. They don't create meaningful relationships. They don't create heart-centered love. They learn through their life that doing that is hurtful, and it hurts, and the struggle hurts, and they don't want to feel it anymore. So I'm going to just wrap my emotions up, stick it in my back pocket, and I'm going to sit on it. And any toxic female, any thirsty female, anybody that wants to give me attention and stroke my ego can come. But anybody that I meet, that I feel any kind of emotion sneaking out of my pocket, that I feel any kind of feelings, I'm chopping them off. I don't want that. So we have to remember that life is cyclical, and our healing comes in cycles. Everything comes back around for us to gain a deeper meaning, to learn a deeper lesson. But we have to realize that with growth comes change. And our belief systems and outlook has to be fluid to change with our growth. We can't keep the same belief systems with us our whole life, because then our capacity to love stays immature. Our capacity to love, our capacity to understand and connect is immature. And if we don't allow that to mature and to grow, we're never going to get to the point where our love and our relationships and our connections are mature. We have to learn to be fluid so we can move more freely in life. And when we build these self-imposed prisons of emotional, taking the emotions out of it, of not feeling, of not wanting a connection, that's what holds us back and keeps us stuck. So we have to really release that. We have to become fluid. We have to change the belief, not the emotion. Because the emotion will automatically change, but it's the belief behind it that needs to grow and change, okay? When you live in pain and anxiety, you attract the same. And being happy is a personal choice. So we have to identify or align ourselves with the things we're asking for. I can't sit here and be like, I want a better life. I want love. I want connection. I want family. And then build this wall around myself and not let anybody in. You're not going to build that alone. And that's all self-imposed. And that's counterproductive. I want this person in my life. I want a relationship, but let me block them so that they can't get to me. Because I'm not ready to feel, and I'm not ready to do that. So if they keep shining that mirror at me, I'm going to fucking take off and run. I don't want to deal with what they have to show me. I'm not ready yet. I'm not there. Look, I don't have everything figured out. I spend an hour, 2 hours of my time, of my week, maybe more when I do readings, giving out all kinds of guidance, speaking truth, giving message, talking my talk. But even I end up curled up in a ball. Even I end up crying, in pain, and allowing the pain of separation to take over me. And forgetting all the things that I've learned on this journey. And it's okay. It's okay to recoil. It's okay to recalibrate. but you can't stay there. And that's why the art of refocusing you need to master that art. So refocusing, we take the emotion out of it. Okay. We can get emotional talking about someone blocking us. We can get emotional talking about somebody, leaving us in the dirt, going off and commenting on other people's photos, telling other people that they're beautiful, but never telling you to your face. We can get caught up in all that emotion. We can't stay there, because then that stunts our growth and stunts our life. So taking the emotion out of it and continuing to push forward, continuing to do things for yourself that make you happy, working on yourself, focus on yourself, do your own healing, do your own work, elevate yourself. That person that's connected to you through the soul is going to be elevated. They're going to figure the shit out on their own. You can't do their healing for them. You can't make them love you. You can't make them come to you. They have to do it on their own. And this is why we say you have to be in that I don't chase, I attract mindset. It's an innate instinct for the masculine to hunt, and an innate instinct for the feminine to nurture. And we have to get back to those instincts and not follow societal constructs and what people think we should be doing. You need to reach out. You need to tell them what's on your mind. You need to give them a piece of your mind. Tell them to fuck off. Tell them, they're doing this, so you better go and do the same. All of that is low vibrational. So you have to take the higher road and do what you're guided to do. And if something is triggering to you, don't sit with the emotional response to it. That's the thing we can control. How we respond to triggering situations. That emotional response eventually will expose the fear or the wound or whatever we need to work on. So you can sit in that response, in that emotion, for as long as you need to, but sooner or later you got to get out of it. But unmasking the core reason to the trigger. Is it a wound of abandonment? Is it a wound of not being validated, not being enough, the fear of making wrong choices, the fear, whatever the fear is? That's what you need to focus on. Not on your person, not on trying to get them back, however it comes up that you think you're going to get them back. You doing work on you and elevating you is what's going to get them back. Suffering is optional in this life. You choose to suffer. You don't have to. No one says that pain and suffering is needed. We are not put on this earth to suffer. We are put on this earth to create meaningful relationships and to be loved and to feel love and that whole 5D reality thing. Acceptance and love and, peace, love, and happiness. The suffering part of it is optional. People learn that life is hard and we have to suffer and we're handed a hand and we have to deal with it. And that's just all bullshit. Allowing ourselves to be invested in emotional pain instead of investing in changing our existence is stupid. I'll say that again. Allowing yourself to be invested in emotional pain instead of investing in changing your existence is stupid. So you've been hurt. So you've had heartbreak. So someone cheated on you in your past and broke your heart. By you investing and continuing that suffering, staying in that path of suffering and pain, and blocking everyone out in your life that's going to come to you to pull you out of it, to give you a better life, to support you, to love you in a way you've never been loved before. Blocking them out because you want to stay in that vein of pain and suffering is dumb. You need to invest in your own existence. You want a better life? Fix it. You want to be happy? Change it. Being happy is a choice, and you have to make that choice. It doesn't come in a box. It doesn't come in a Amazon package. You're the one that has to make the choice to be more positive, to look for people that bring positivity and love into your life, to bring people into your life that support you and believe in you. And pull yourself out of that ego mentality. Your ego doesn't need to be stroked. You need to be loved on a soul level, not the ego. Your ego needs to be controlled and put to the side so that you can live through your soul and what your soul wants and what your heart wants. So at the end of the day, again, I do feel in a matter of twin flame separation, when the divine masculine decides to run away, it's just that they're not wanting to face themselves. They're not wanting to face their own shit. They're looking for people to sit in their shit with. And they surround themselves with people that are not worthy. And that's the part that hurts me the most, is that my masculine doesn't see himself worthy, and doesn't hold himself to a more sacred level than where he is. He's bringing himself down and lowering himself into the dumpster diving, into the trash, instead of elevating himself as a king. And I know that comes with healing, and I know that comes with figuring the shit out, and they need time and space and blah, blah, blah. The other thing that the masculine does is they take the chance, the life-altering chance, that by the time they decide to come correct, the feminine won't be there. Union is not guaranteed when it comes to healing. Time does not stop. Even though time doesn't exist and time isn't a factor, and everything is within divine timing. The feminines are guided not to wait. They're guided to continue with their life, to live their life, to make meaningful connections, to spread that unconditional love. We're taking on the mission of the connection and spreading unconditional love and teaching people how to elevate their own vibration, and teaching people how to, be open to receiving and, be love and whatever. We're just waiting for the masculine to catch up. But if they decide that they want to stay in the mud puddle and they don't want to do the work, who knows how that's going to play out. But just remember, you need to be the change in your life. If you want to change your life, if you want to change your existence, invest in changing something and not investing in your pain and suffering. All of that is optional. Emotions are changeable. It's the belief system and what you're investing in that creates your reality. So hopefully that resonates with you. Again, I'm going to put my link tree in the description, and find me on Facebook, on all the other socials. If you would like to book a personal reading, I am available for those. Just see my website, lisaann.com. I am running a $20 email love reading until the end of February. If you want to get in on that, my Venmo and my PayPal are in the link tree as well. Just make sure you include your email in that. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for subscribing. Share this out with your friends. Have them come on and subscribe. And I hope to see you soon. I'm sending you out so much love for this week. You got this. Just stay centered, stay blessed. Have a good week.